Hello, welcome to Daily Art Day number 2861. Today I'm working on this tiny little hummingbird next to Pocahontas. And you wouldn't think it, but this little tiny hummingbird has great significance in both mine and Patty's life. Patty introduced me to a Native American story of a hummingbird. And just to quickly illustrate this story. Basically, there's a forest fire, a huge forest fire, and all of the forest animals, the bear, the raccoon, the deer, they all have excuses. Really good excuses. The bear says, what am I going to do? It's too hot. The raccoon says something like, I'm too small. How am I going to help this forest fire? The deer says, well, I have to watch my children. I can't watch the forest fire. I don't have time for this. But then they all spy this little hummingbird. This little tiny hummingbird is flitting back and forth from above this raging fire to a small pond and taking one little drop of water from the small pond and quickly going in the fire and dropping that one little drop of water back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And they ask the hummingbird, what are you doing? How can that make any difference whatsoever to this huge forest fire? It's massive. You're going to hurt yourself. Stop. What are you doing? And the hummingbird says, I'm doing what I can. And that's what's powerful about this is throughout our days, every single day, we do what we can. We're all going to have challenges. We're all going to have tons of things going on in our life. We're not going to have enough time. We're going to be ill. We're going to be inundated. We're going to be distracted. But if something means a lot to you, you do what you can. Today is a really good illustration to that. Today is Patty's birthday. Happy birthday, my love. Today's her birthday. I don't have a lot of time for art because we have to celebrate her wonderful life. And so I did 15 minutes of my warm-up and then about a half an hour on this little hummingbird. And I believe I finished it. I love this little hummingbird. Now that wisdom of doing what you can is repeated by so many intelligent people. I was just reading a philosopher note from optimize.me of the book Sea Stories by Admiral William McRaven. And in that, the big idea, let me see if I can figure out what it's called. The big idea is called one evolution at a time. Basically, you're going to have these huge challenges. And what you do is you take it one evolution at a time, one little bit at a time. You break it up. If you keep all of this craziness in your head constantly, look at all these drawings. If I thought, oh my gosh, I have to do 44 drawings constantly while I'm working on this little hummingbird, I'm going to quit. So I don't worry about that. It's going to happen. All I do is I take the time that I can today. Remember the hummingbird. Take that little bit of time. The same wisdom is repeated by Mark Devine in The Way of the Seal. He says keep front side focus. Simplify the battlefield. Break it down into smaller chunks. I've heard multiple people in wisdom, I think, that this is Spartan Up. What's the guy with Spartan Up? I forget his name. The whole Spartan creator guy. I mean, this crazy endurance runner. You know what he does? He says, can you make it to the next telephone pole? Can you keep moving forward? I mean, Rocky in his famous speech to his son, it's, you, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life, but it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. In constructive living, the Zen therapist David Reynolds basically says, now what needs to get done? Through optimized wisdom, I constantly repeat, what's important now? Every few minutes, you just heard my little bell ding, every 20 minutes where I get up and I move around. But I also look at my protocol for the day. I say, what's important now? What little bit can I work on? I'm not thinking about the whole day. I'm just thinking about what's in front of me. Byron Katie in Loving What Is, she tells us about a practice called doing the dishes. I mean, life is never going to give us more than what we want or what we need or what we can take. There's only just one thing to do, one thing in front of us. The little drop of water, the hummingbird. Remember the hummingbird. You look at habit specialists like B.J. Fogg, James Clear, Atomic Habits, B.J. Fogg's Tiny Habits book. And basically, with his behavior equals map model, motivation, ability, prompt, you break everything up into little small chunks so you can keep moving forward. This wisdom is everywhere. It begins with our earliest Stoics 2,500 years ago, moves through time, ancient Asian wisdom, Buddhist, Lao Tzu, into Christianity, into everything, into modern wisdom, modern psychology. Do what you can. Remember the hummingbird and keep creating.